What if I told you that just one small everyday nut could begin shrinking your enlarged prostate in less than a single day? No surgery, no expensive prescriptions, no risky supplements, just a natural food you can buy at any grocery store, and yet most men over 60 have never been told about it. I'm Dr. William Lee, a physician scientist, vascular biologist, and the author of research that has fundamentally changed how the world thinks about food and the human body. For decades, I've dedicated my career to understanding how what we eat either activates or undermines our body's own defense systems. And the prostate is one of the most powerful examples of that principle in action. I've worked alongside thousands of men struggling silently with prostate problems. The sleepless nights driven by constant bathroom trips, the quiet frustration of a weak, hesitant stream, the deeper, unspoken fear that something more serious might be developing. I understand how these symptoms chip away at a man's sense of strength, dignity, and control over his own body. And as a man myself, I know that this kind of slow, silent erosion is rarely discussed, even with a doctor. But here is the truth that most men never hear, and that the medical establishment rarely leads with. Certain nuts, yes, simple, natural, affordable foods, can measurably reduce prostate inflammation, restore urinary flow, and actively support your hormonal and sexual health. The science behind this isn't fringe. It isn't alternative. It's grounded in peer-reviewed research. It has just been buried beneath decades of pharmaceutical marketing and a healthcare system that profits more from treating disease than preventing it. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 5 most powerful nuts for supporting prostate health, backed by real medical evidence, and show you exactly how to use them for maximum benefit. Stay with me until the end, because I'll also share one simple preparation method that dramatically accelerates how fast one of these works. This could be the turning point your prostate has been waiting for. Before we go further, make sure you subscribe and tap the bell icon so you never miss a video designed to help men over 60 live stronger, longer, and with greater confidence. And drop a comment below. Tell me where you're watching from, your city, your country. I want to see how far this message is traveling. Nut 1. Pumpkin seeds. The natural prostate protector. When I think back across my career in medicine and research, one type of patient comes to mind again and again. Men who are exhausted, not just physically, but emotionally. Men who have followed every protocol their doctors recommended, only to feel dizzier, more drained, and no closer to real relief. One such man was a 67-year-old retired firefighter who came to my clinic having tried multiple medications that left him fatigued, dizzy, and stripped of his drive. He was waking up 6 times a night. He had lost hope. So I recommended something that made him pause. Pumpkin seeds. He looked at me the way many men do, skeptical, arms crossed. But this isn't folk medicine. This is biochemistry, and I want to walk you through exactly why it works. Pumpkin seeds are one of the richest natural sources of zinc on the planet, and here's what most men don't know. Your prostate is essentially a zinc storage organ. It depends on zinc for proper cellular function. When zinc levels drop, which happens progressively with age, the prostate becomes increasingly vulnerable to inflammation and pathological overgrowth. Clinical studies consistently show that low zinc correlates with elevated risk of BCH, benign prostatic hyperplasia, the condition responsible for that weak urinary stream and those relentless nighttime bathroom trips. But pumpkin seeds go further than zinc alone. They contain beta-sitosterol, a bioactive plant compound that blocks the enzymatic conversion of testosterone into dihydrotestosterone. DATE is the hormone most directly responsible for driving prostate growth. By suppressing DHT production, beta-sitosterol slows prostate enlargement and, in documented cases, supports measurable reduction in gland size. That is not a minor claim. That is mechanistic, targeted nutritional science. My patient began eating a small handful of raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds daily. Within 3 days, his nighttime trips dropped from 6 to 2. By the second week, he was sleeping through the night for the first time in years. At his follow-up, he looked me in the eye and said, "Dr. Lai, I finally feel like myself again." That is not coincidence. That is targeted nutritional biochemistry working exactly as the science predicts. Here's how to do it correctly. Choose raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds, not roasted, not sweetened. Aim for 1 to 2 ounces per day. For best results, soak them overnight in water before consuming them in the morning. This simple step breaks down phytic acid and significantly increases the bioavailability of the minerals your prostate actually needs. One small daily habit with measurable compounding biological effects. Nut 2. Brazil nuts. The cellular defender. Let's talk about a nut that operates at the cellular level to protect your prostate from within. Brazil nuts are, without question, the single richest dietary source of selenium on Earth. And selenium is not a minor player in prostate health. It functions as a critical antioxidant enzyme activator, helping your body neutralize the free radicals that drive oxidative stress, accelerate cellular aging, and promote chronic inflammation. These are the very conditions that make your prostate increasingly vulnerable over time. Selenium also plays a direct role in DNA repair and immune surveillance. In my research and in the broader population literature, low selenium levels have been consistently associated with elevated prostate cancer risk and accelerated glandular deterioration. This is a mineral your prostate absolutely requires, and the data is unambiguous. Most men aren't getting enough of it through diet. Here's what makes Brazil nuts remarkable from a clinical standpoint. You don't need many. In fact, dosage precision matters here because selenium toxicity is real and measurable. 1 to 2 Brazil nuts per day is all it takes to saturate your system with protective, clinically meaningful benefit. This is precision nutrition, not bulk supplementation. I had a patient, 72 years old, with years of chronic prostate inflammation, a history of elevated SA, and persistent nighttime urination that was disrupting both his sleep and his marriage. We kept his protocol simple. 2 Brazil nuts every morning with breakfast. Nothing dramatic. Over 3 months, his SA showed a modest but meaningful decline. His nighttime urination improved substantially. His energy rebounded in ways he hadn't anticipated. He told me something that has stayed with me. I feel like I'm actually participating in my own healing now, instead of just waiting for a pill to fix me. That sense of agency, of taking deliberate, evidence-based action, is something I want every man watching this to experience, because the data supports it, and so does the biology. Store Brazil nuts raw or dry roasted in the refrigerator to preserve the delicate oils. And I mean it when I say do not exceed 2 per day. More is not better here. This is a precision intervention, not a bulk food. Done correctly, this small daily ritual quietly fortifies your prostate from the inside out. Nut 3, walnuts, the circulation booster. Now, let's turn to one of the most well-researched nuts in the entire nutritional medicine literature. Walnuts are the most concentrated plant-based source of omega-3 fatty acids available to us, specifically alpha-linolenic acid, ALA. And if there is one physiological factor that is almost universally overlooked in prostate health discussions, it is blood flow. Poor circulation and chronic inflammation are deeply intertwined mechanisms. When blood flow to the prostate and pelvic region is compromised, inflammation intensifies, tissue oxygenation drops, and urinary symptoms worsen. As a vascular biologist, this connection is something I have studied at a mechanistic level for years. Omega-3 fatty acids address this directly. They reduce systemic inflammation, restore endothelial function, which is the health and integrity of your blood vessel lining, and measurably improve oxygen delivery to pelvic tissues. The clinical result is reduced urinary urgency, a stronger and more consistent urinary stream, and yes, improved sexual function. Because better circulation doesn't just benefit your prostate, it benefits your energy, your cognitive clarity, and your overall vitality. These systems are connected. When one improves, the others follow. I had a patient, 68 years old, a man who had quietly accepted diminishing vitality as an inevitable part of aging. He began eating 1 handful of raw walnuts daily as part of a structured protocol I designed for him. 3 weeks later, his sleep had improved, his energy had returned, and his wife told him something had come back to life. That's not marketing language. That is what restored vascular health looks like in a man's daily experience, and it is fully consistent with what the clinical literature predicts. Eat 1 ounce per day, roughly a handful. Choose raw or lightly toasted walnuts stored in the refrigerator to protect the polyunsaturated fats from oxidation. Pair them with vitamin C-rich foods like berries or citrus to enhance absorption. When you restore blood flow, you restore vitality, physical, mental, and emotional. That is the walnut advantage, and the science fully supports every word of it. Nut 4, almonds, the antioxidant shield theirs, something I often emphasize when I speak about food as medicine. The most powerful interventions in human health are frequently the most ordinary ones. Almonds are a perfect illustration of that principle. Almonds are one of the richest dietary sources of vitamin E, specifically the tocopherol form that acts as a potent antioxidant within prostate tissue. Oxidative stress is one of the primary drivers of prostate inflammation and cellular dysfunction. Vitamin E intervenes directly in that process, shielding prostate cells from the kind of cumulative damage that compounds silently over years and decades. When you look at the mechanistic literature on prostate aging, oxidative stress appears again and again as a central accelerant. Addressing it directly with targeted antioxidants is not optional. It is fundamental. But almonds don't stop at vitamin E. They're also an excellent source of magnesium, a mineral that plays a critical role in smooth muscle relaxation, including the muscles of the bladder and urinary tract. When those muscles are locked in a state of chronic tension, urinary urgency intensifies and flow decreases. Magnesium helps regulate that tension and restore normal function. And the monounsaturated fats in almonds support hormonal balance and sustained energy, 2 pillars of male vitality that deteriorate noticeably with age when not actively supported. I had a patient, 64 years old, disrupted sleep, declining energy, growing frustration with a body he no longer recognized as his own. He began eating 10 soaked peeled almonds each morning. Nothing else in his routine changed. Within 3 weeks, he was waking up only once per night. His daytime energy stabilized. His mood improved. He said to me, Dr. Lai, I didn't realize a habit this small could make this much difference. That is not a placebo response. That is nutritional biochemistry delivering exactly what the research predicts. Choose raw or dry roasted, unsalted almonds. Avoid anything flavored, coated, or sweetened, as those processing steps introduce compounds that undermine the very benefits you're seeking. 23 almonds, approximately 1 ounce, is the optimal daily amount. Soak them overnight to improve digestibility and increase nutrient bioavailability. It is a simple preparation step that makes a measurable difference in how much your body actually absorbs and uses. Nut 5, pecans, the hormone balancer finally. Let's talk about a nut most men have never considered as a serious health intervention. Pecans show up in desserts. Scientifically, they deserve a prominent place in every man's daily health protocol, and here's why. Pecans are one of the richest plant-based sources of beta-sitosterol, the same deep-blocking compound found in pumpkin seeds. That means pecans deliver the same powerful anti-androgenic effect on the prostate, slowing enlargement, reducing hormonal pressure on the gland, and supporting measurable relief from urinary symptoms. For men who want to double down on hormonal protection through diet, combining pumpkin seeds and pecans creates a meaningful, synergistic effect on DHT modulation. But pecans go further still. Their total antioxidant capacity, measured by ORAC scores, exceeds most fruits. They're loaded with monounsaturated fats that support cardiovascular health, hormone regulation, and pelvic circulation. In the research literature, diets rich in these specific fatty acid profiles are consistently associated with better urological outcomes and improved sexual health markers in men over 60. I had a 70-year-old patient who raised an eyebrow when I brought up pecans. "Doc," he said, "those are for pie." I told him to give it a month and track what changed. He came back a month later, sleeping through the night, reporting noticeably less urinary pressure, and looking at me with an expression I've seen many times across my career. It's the look of a man who has reclaimed something he quietly accepted as lost. "I didn't realize how much discomfort I had just normalized," he said. That's the critical insight, and I want to say it plainly. We normalize our decline. We accept a diminished version of ourselves as simply what aging looks like. It doesn't have to be. The biology doesn't demand it. And the data doesn't support that acceptance. One small handful, approximately 20 pecan halves per day, raw or lightly roasted, always unsalted. Store them in the refrigerator or freezer to protect the oils from going rancid. Incorporated consistently, pecans steadily rebalance the hormonal and inflammatory environment inside your prostate in ways that are both biologically meaningful and clinically documented. How to start? A practical protocol for tomorrow. Let me make this actionable, because information without implementation is just noise. Start with 2 nuts from this list. I recommend pumpkin seeds for rapid symptomatic relief and Brazil nuts for long-term cellular protection. These 2 together address both the immediate hormonal drivers of prostate enlargement and the deeper oxidative and inflammatory mechanisms that accelerate deterioration. Buy them raw and fresh. No coatings, no added salt, no processed oils. Eat them at a consistent time each day, ideally with breakfast or as a mid-afternoon snack. Consistency of timing matters both for building the habit and for optimizing metabolic absorption. Your body responds to rhythm. Track your progress objectively. Note your nighttime bathroom trips, your urinary stream strength, and your overall comfort level each week. Write it down. Make it measurable. Within 2 to 3 weeks, you will begin to notice changes. Not overnight miracles, but the kind of steady, compounding improvement that tells you your body is responding to what you're giving it. Because here is what I want every man watching this to understand. Age is not the enemy. Inaction is. Every deliberate choice you make, including something as seemingly small as a handful of the right nuts, is a biological signal. It tells your body what you want from it. And when you give your body what it actually needs, it responds with remarkable precision. That is not philosophy. That is physiology. A final word: I've spent my career demonstrating one fundamental truth through research and clinical practice. Food is not passive. It is medicine. The bioactive compounds in these 5 nuts interact directly with the hormonal, inflammatory, and vascular mechanisms that drive prostate dysfunction. This is not wishful thinking. This is documented, peer-reviewed science that has helped real men reclaim their sleep, their comfort, their confidence, and their sense of themselves. You do not have to accept constant discomfort as simply what getting older looks like. Your prostate can stabilize. Your energy can return. Your quality of life can improve, not in spite of your age, but because you decided to take precise, informed, evidence-based action. That decision belongs to you, and it starts today. Start small, stay consistent, trust the biology. Your body is not working against you. It is waiting for you to give it the right tools. And when you do, it will respond. If this video gave you something useful, hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with another man who is looking for real answers. And tell me in the comments, which of these 5 nuts will you start with first? Real change begins with small, daily choices. You're not just supporting your prostate, you're rebuilding your vitality, and that changes everything.